Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty interesting news and a big warning for pretty much everyone out there when it comes to a brand new game that just came out. We also have some more of the, overall community sentiment that came out from the PlayStation event, which is funny up and people kind of saying a little bit more mediocre things than we'd be kind of expecting, kind of as we kind of covered up as of yesterday, if you guys remember seeing that video. Some of the little videos gaming news, so let's go and talk about it. As well, if any of you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We also have the Twitter and Twitch room down below, Amazon links, and of course, give me your thoughts and comments down below because this one will be a little bit of an interesting one. So first and foremost, in case you guys did miss it for God knows why, there was a really big PlayStation event that happened as of yesterday. Now, a lot of folks are not so happy with it. I kind of talked about this on yesterday's video, and I kind of gave it like a 6.57. I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool, but we saw some of the leaks, and a lot of these games might be coming from other consoles. Just a lot of general things like that. I wasn't super impressed. I wasn't super in love with it. It was kind of like an okay event. It could have been way, way better. But sadly, once again, the internet's been very, very on, Sony's behind, and, a lot of folks have not been happy with the, conference itself. So, just giving you guys more of a heads up that we had like a day to go and sit on it. A lot of folks kind of still think we need a lot more AAA games. Some more proper, actual first-party studio games, and as well, a lot of folks are just kind of assuming that it really didn't even need to have a showcase in the first place. A state of play, or as well, maybe holding off all of this and including it to maybe a separate, different event would have maybe been a little bit nicer. But as well, and almost maybe thankfully so, there's actually been a few games that have still been coming out these past few weeks, and one of them especially is kind of where the big warning is one of the probably worst games apparently that has come out so far. Now, this game was a little bit on my radar just because it was like a Lord of the Rings game, but it's kind of where my big warning lies, where apparently this is one of the worst games that have come out this year so far. So we're going to do a quick little talk on this one over here as I show a little bit of bits and pieces of gameplay, where if you guys did not know, basically the Lord of the Rings Gollum is now out, and so far we have been seeing some folks, I'll credit over here to MK Ice and Fire, where we have been seeing that this game is possibly one of the worst games anyone has ever seen, where, obviously you guys probably know Gollum, if you guys know Lord of the Rings, and apparently this is one of the worst reviewed games on Metacritic this entire year, as we're talking it's the lowest rated game. And so far for me, just literally looking, this is just me randomly finding a little smidgen of it. This looks horrible. What's going on? You're in a random cave, it's dark, there's no environment, you're just there, you're running, you look awkward, you look small. It just seems like a strange game to say nonetheless. And a lot of people are saying this game had basically no redeemable qualities, was overall just horrendous, and that people should basically forget that this game even exists in the first place. Now, there has been a few decent, good, Lord of the Rings games out there, and the IP is pretty strong, but I do kind of feel like they're having a little bit of a struggle to even find the footing for this. If I can probably just scroll through some random timestamp over here, graphically doesn't look nice, animation looks kind of meh, UI, this whatever, it just looks like normal random text, but it just doesn't seem like a good game. Every single glance, it looks bland, it looks boring. Oh, here's a follow quest, okay, cool, let's go over here. Here's a random guy you're sneaking across, and it looks like my person's not even touching the literal floor on the animations. Just everything people are saying so far, this game reminds them of a PlayStation 2 game. And I'll be honest with you guys, everything I've seen so far right here and right now does kind of seem like that is boding well about right. You guys also completely, utterly missed the entire, scene that just happened where he completely missed and fell on the crowd. I wish I would have showed that. That probably would have made that game at least a little bit more redeemable. But that's kind of the bigger warning over here, because I did see a few bits of folks, either on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter comments mention that they were kind of excited for this game, and apparently Lord of the Rings Gollum is the worst reviewed game of 2023. So thankfully, PlayStation, on top of a really somewhat mediocre event yesterday, did not also top off with this or include this at all, because, yeah, it just didn't seem that good. So the game was released today for PC, PlayStation, Xbox consoles, and as of right now, it is the worst rated game of 2023. And we've had some pretty big doozies so far, according to review aggregate sites like Metacritic and also OpenCritic. Following several delays, co-publishers Nacon and Delayc Entertainment released the game today, and I saw, like I said, a few people up on Twitch, I saw those YouTube videos. It looked so uninspired. It looked like it was just thrown together by just a bunch of folks thinking we should make a Gollum game. But once again, Gollum was never really he was people know of them. I've just never really wanted to play a game with Gollum. It seems alright, I guess, but I don't know. Basically, Metacritic's best games of 2023 rankings include 296 titles released so far this year, and so far, This version of the game sits at 295 with the Metascore of 43, which is horrible. That's absolutely failing. One place behind Clive and Wrench, which has a Metascore of 50. Horrible reviews. However, the PS5 version has even been less well received, placing on the list at 296 with a Metascore of 38. So basically, if you guys have a PlayStation, this game might be a big warning to avoid. And as well, we've had a lot of folks go and say they were a little bit excited for this game and kind of want to check out the game itself. And so far, no one has really done it. So just keeping you guys in the loop for that one. So basically, yeah, this is probably one of the worst games we've seen so far. Taking place in parallel to the events described in the Fellowship of the Ring, Gollum is a fantasy action RPG game in which players embark on a quest to retrieve the One Ring, as an original story that takes place in several regions of Middle-earth as well. So basically, people reviewed it as a derivative, uninteresting, and fundamentally broken stealth action adventure that fails to capture anything interesting in the Tolkien fiction. Lord of the Rings Gollum is a broken mess of a game with outrageously dated level design, clunky controls, a severe lack of polish, muddy and unimpressive graphics, and a dull story. From exhausting, repetitive gameplay to a poorly constructed narrative, this is a piece of Middle-earth you should never explore. Good God, like if video games had feelings, this video game would be curled up in a ball and crying on how bad it is. But it kind of goes to show that I just want to give you guys a quick warning that if you guys do want to buy this game, maybe don't. Maybe no. maybe just don't. You can also maybe sit, because I feel like whenever games are this poorly received, typically this is when they go on sale in a week. So we actually might even be watching this game and maybe go and see in about 2 weeks or so and see if it drops down to $30. And I'm not sure if it'd even be worth $30 at this point. And the gameplay I showed you guys a little bit before just didn't really seem that good. You guys can give me your thoughts and comments on that one. But a bit of a warning on that overall. Now, some kind of cool news to you as well is that number one, if you guys missed it, the brand new Spider-Man game has crossed over 10 million views already, which kind of just goes to show how excited everyone is going to be when it comes to this game. This game looks sick. It's probably the highlight of the actual PlayStation event, and in all honesty, the game I want to play probably the most. Once again, the rumored release date is around the September time. So not even 24 hours and we've crossed the 10 million YouTube view mark on the Marvel and PlayStation uploads of this Spider-Man 2 PS5 gameplay reveal video. So everyone's they're saying thank you. All the devs are pretty hyped up. In all honesty, with how negatively received the event was, without Spider-Man, this would have been a 3 out of 10. I'm just getting very excited for Spider-Man and saw gameplay and story. I'm pretty excited for that nonetheless. Now, we also have a little bit more news, too, as well. Where basically, if you guys missed it, too, we also have some big highlights on, say, games like Concord 2 that were also highlighted up here on the PlayStation events themselves. Just in case you guys had a chance to see some of these on over here. They look kind of cool. They look kind of nifty, all this type of stuff. We're just seeing some random general games. And as well, also Phantom Blade Zero, which I do want to say, I believe, is going to be a PlayStation exclusive. Also tied on into as well with PC. So we are still seeing some PS5 exclusive games that are being tied on in. And even some of them were also included from the PlayStation event itself. But we also saw quite a bit of actual media attention too as well. They're basically trying to say hey, either PlayStation's going really big on the proper big blockbusters, so think games like Spider-Man or God of War, where they're pretty much guaranteed to assume the game's going to make a lot of money and it's worth their time and investment, etc., etc. But as well, they also almost want to highlight up a lot more of this indie style to see if they could ever go and find a proper, legitimate indie game that they could push into and maybe buy out the studio or work with them more closely for more future exclusives. So basically, a lot of the headlining games, and I would agree, Spider-Man 2, which looked great, and it was a great game too as well. And we also have the movies coming out too, so Spider-Man's just gonna be hot, 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 hot. And it's kind of a cool concept where they're trying to go and triple down and put so much pressure on this. But that's why I think some folks are kind of upset. Because, yeah, you could have a few pretty big blockbusters, but you want to have other games, too, in the fray as well. You want to make sure people are buying games and playing a variety of games, too, and supporting all the other smaller studios. And I think that's kind of a big thing, too, because some folks are kind of concerned because they almost, know the Sony format, and they don't want people to think the games are getting really formulaic and kind of similar and not just so good at the end of the day. And as well, too, they also are still thankful that they're getting a lot of these indies, and there was a lot of indie games that were promoted on the most recent PlayStation showcase as well. And I'm a big fan of indies. I always like the idea of indies because you never know which game might go pop off or which game has potential. And sometimes I do enjoy the creative and more of the story-based games rather than something like, say, Uncharted or God of War. At least in my opinion. So it kind of seems like a lot of folks are now kind of getting like these deep, dark thoughts when it comes to all these showcase and everything else in between. And in my mind, I could appreciate it too as well. So give you guys that big, big warning. Please make sure to double check if you guys do want to even have Lord of the Rings Gollum, and as well all your other thoughts and comments too as well on the event, on the other upcoming games, PlayStation exclusives, and everything else in between. I appreciate y'all so much for watching. Make sure you guys are subscribed, notifications on Twitter, Twitch, and down below, Amazon links. We'll see you guys tonight for another quick video.